what I love to see. So another one was probably one of the hardest ones to do, because he looks different for everyone who sees him, is the Emperor. And which I, again, if they bring out a model, that's the pose they have to do. That's the model they have to make, the Master of Mankind, which is absolutely incredible art piece. For the Emperor, like, what was it like designing him and his armor?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, that was the big one for me, because I knew the lore, I knew how important this person was, and I really didn't want to mess it up. I
Yeah.
mean, again, it's like Adrian Smith. I think he done the showdown picture, Horus versus the Emperor, but also back in the day he did a picture of the Emperor stood on a rocky outcrop when he's got really long straight hair, and I think it was an Aaron Dembski Bowden book, and Aaron had a very specific idea about what piece of artwork he needed to reference, the kind of pose and setting, which was great. Again, it takes the legwork for me out. And I remembered that piece he was talking about. I'm pretty sure it was Adrian Smith, I think it was. And it's a beautiful piece of artwork, quite atmospheric. I think it's mostly white paper behind him, so the clouds, the sky looks quite cloudy. But he stood on this rocky outcrop with a sword. But he's in, I think back in the day, I think the Primarchs and the Emperor still had relatively straightforward marine armor. They weren't as towering or as ornate as they are, depicted nowadays. So I thought, well, I'm going to take that pose. I'm going to take the gold armor that Adrian's done for, the Horus Emperor picture, and I just started painting. Really started drawing. It's sometimes when you're drawing, it's a bit like running down a hill, and if everything's going well, you're freewheeling and it's great.
Yeah.
As soon as you can feel like you're gonna fall, you think, well, maybe I need to stop. But with that piece, it was just a case of I just enjoyed every single moment of painting it, and really kind of enjoying exploring what the Emperor looked like. Especially, I think in that piece as well, he's got those kind of baleful, glowing eyes, which always makes him look kind of godly, ineffable, otherworldly, which I think really is his character. He is like the ultimate being, and so you can never really connect with him, and yet he's there in some form that you'd understand. So I'm trying to distill all those ideas into a picture. It was a guy in gold armor with a sword, flaming sword. But that's half the fun, really. It's just really sort of losing yourself and trying to make it look as good as possible, and hoping that it looks good by the end of it. But there's always a phase when you're drawing these pictures where it looks terrible. It's in the middle of like a project. And I remember that the gold armor was just so difficult to paint. Reflective stuff is so difficult, but the payoff is, if you get it right, it really sings when you look at it off the page. It can really make a picture. Reflections, to me, is one of the most enjoyable aspects, and I've had the chance to do lots of armor markings and variants in with that. So yeah, as a case in point, that was just so much fun. I enjoyed that piece so much. And in some ways, a lot of people have said, how much they like it and how much it speaks to them, which is great, because that was the intention, really.